I'm working in the New Perspectives Access 2010 textbook. I'm in Tutorial 6 and I'm picking up on page About AC 342. I've created the custom form. Everything works on it, and now I'm doing the formatting steps. So one of the first things that I'm going to do is work on my two calculated controls by setting the properties for them. And I'm going to go to the Other tab, and I'm going to turn off the tab stop because since this is a calculated control, you don't want people to stop on it, because if the tab stops on it, they're going to think that they can do something to it. And I'll add some control tip text, and that control tip text is going to say calculated total number of invoices for this contract. That's a mouthful. So I've keyed in the control tip text calculated number of invoices for this contract, and then I'll select my other control, set the tab stop to no, and I'll set my control tip text to calculated invoice total for this contract. So I've set my tab stop to no, and I've added the control tip text of calculated invoice total for this contract. The next thing I'll take a look at is tab order, and so I'll move to Design View. On Design View, in Design View on the Design tab, and I'll click Tab Order. Text 14 and 17, those are the two calculated controls that I just created. There's no tab stops on them. I really should go in and give them meaningful names, but at this point I'm going to skip that. If you don't see contract num, contract amount, you may have the form header or the form footer section selected. Make sure you select detail. We want this, and we'll pull this out of the way a little bit so that we can see the order of the controls on our form. We want contract num, contract amount, signing date, start date. And then we want customer ID, which is our combo box. So we'll just click to select it, drag it, drop it above contract type, and our subform. That one's okay. So save that. The next thing we'll look at is adding some lines, fixing our alignments, and adding some other visual interest to this form. I'll start by doing some alignments because I want to have everything aligned before I put a line on it. And I'm asked to align this, and the edge of the subform. So I'm going to take these controls basically and move them over. That's pretty close. I could move them over a little bit more. This is actually looking pretty well aligned, so I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to take this one and this, and I'm going to do a range and align right. That brings this control too close to this one, so I'll deselect these and I'll move it off just a little bit by resizing it. There we go. And then I'll go ahead and align these, and I want them to align to the bottom. So again, arrange, align, and I'll align bottom. It moved my label down a little bit, that's fine. Then I'm going to put a line below these that's going to basically set the width of my form. So go back to the design, controls, click the line. To get a straight line, hold your shift key down. So start about a row of dots in, click, hold, and drag, and I'll bring it out to about here, and then bring my margin in. If my line gets crooked, if you're trying to resize this line and it gets crooked like that, the easiest way to fix it is open up your properties box, go to Format, and set the height of the line to 0, because the height of a straight line is 0. Now the line moved up a little bit, so I use my control key to move it down. I hold down my control key and I use my cursor key to move it down a little bit. Yes on that. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a rectangle around these controls. They're too close to the subform, and so I'm going to grab them and move them up just a little bit, not much. The next thing I see is that my subform control doesn't align, so I'm going to grab these and I'm going to line them all left. And then that gives me, I need to look at my margin over on this side again, and that is still looking pretty good. Then now I'll go ahead and add the rectangle. So go to Design, Controls, Rectangle, and I'm going to make this offset about 2 rows of dots. Now it looks like I got 2 on in some places, but only 1 on another. So I'll just grab it. With our rectangle control and our line, we want them both to have a line thickness of 1 point. I could go to the Format tab, click Control Formatting, and find the shape outline. You're not going to be able to see that on my screen, so I'll use the Properties sheet, and I'll change the border width from hairline to 1 point, so you'll be able to see that one. I'll save this and take a look at it. It's looking okay. I probably want to move that subform control down a little bit, but I'll click on it and press my down cursor key. There we go, moved it off a little bit. And the next thing I want to do is add some color. So I'm going to grab these 2 controls and go to Format and to my font color. And on my font color I'm going to choose blue, light blue. Where's blue? Blue. There we go. And I've already set it to bold. Select contract. I'm going to set it to red and bold, and I'm going to add a special effect, and I'll do that off from my property sheet. And the special effect that I'm going to add is not going to be raised. I'm going to choose etched. Let's take a look. So far so good. Go back to Design View, and I'm going to grab all of my labels, and I'm going to set the special effect on them to sunken. Now I'm going to set my background color. Select background color, and I go to Format, and I can use the fill color from here. And the fill color is a light blue 2. Let's see if we can find light blue 2, light blue 1, light blue 2. And I'm also going to make sure that I add that color to my form footer, because I'm going to add my name as a label to the form footer. I'll go ahead and save. And we should be about finished. Let's take a look. How does this compare to the example in the book? Let's turn back to page AC 328 and take a look. We've got contracts and invoices. Select contract. As I spoke earlier, I was going to use a different special effect. We have contract num, we have our all of our labels. It looks like these two may not be aligned properly, and these two are not aligned properly. I'll go in and fix those. This one's looking okay. I need to add the fill color here. And I have room for my scroll bar, and this I want to resize a little bit. So go back to Design View, and I'm going to add my fill color to these two boxes. I'm going to take these two and make sure that they're aligned properly. And these I'm going to move over about 1 to make sure that the margins are still looking pretty good. And we'll take another look at it. That one I need to fix. I'll do that one in Layout View. That looks suitable. I'll save it. And it looks like we can put a wrap on this form.